Tiny. Hey guys, I'm here to talk about one of my favorite movies of all time in this video, It. Yeah, I've been a big fan of this movie for a pretty long time, since I was 14, But anyways, I'll just be talking about some things about It that you may not have known. So, let's start it. It is not even from Earth. It, or Pennywise, as some people call him, is from a place called the Macroverse, which is established by the author Stephen King in the Dark Tower novels. From that so-called macroverse, it crashed onto Earth and stayed in hibernation. 1715 was when it first woke up. After that awakening, it began doing evil deeds in Derry. Many fans speculate whether the city of Derry became evil because it crashed on it, or whether the city has something evil about it all along, but deliberately chosen by it for that reason. Written in 1986, Stephen King's It novel is one of his most successful and well-recognized books in history. But as the story goes, Pennywise was not necessarily a completely original creation from Stephen King's head. Instead, it seems the antagonist was inspired by John Wayne Gacy. Now I'm going to mention some facts about John Wayne Gacy that you might not know also. John would dress up as a clown to sexually assault and kill teenage boys. He was often the victim of his father's scorn. As well as beatings weren't enough, Gacy suffered verbal abuse from his father as well. He reported taking a beating from a razor strop on more than one occasion. His mother did her best to protect him from his violent father. His father told him that he was dumb and stupid. Gacy felt almost as if he wasn't good enough for his father. When he was 7, he and a young boy were accused of molesting a young girl. Also, when he was 7 years old, he was molested by a family friend. Instead of telling his parents, he suffered this in silence, out of fear of being blamed for the act by his hateful father. Signs of trouble were present in Gacy's childhood. One of Gacy's first jobs was an assistant at the morgue. In a later interview, Gacy recalls sleeping behind the embalming room and spent some time cuddled up with the body before disgust took over and forced him out. Some of the ways that Gacy would torture his victims are: he would take them home, where he would bind them with handcuffs and strangle them. With some victims, Gacy would partially drown them in the bathtub before reviving them to begin the torture all over again. Neighbors report seeing Gacy leave at odd hours of the night, lights turning on and off. One neighbor reported hearing screams and sounds of suffering coming from the Gacy home in the night. When caught, he admitted to stacking bodies in his crawl space. When detectives went to search Gacy's home, they found a flooded crawl space and a broken sump pump. After waiting for the broken part, detectives simply waited for the water to drain. They were then met with soaking wet, purified flesh. He had been committing crimes from 1972 to 1978 and was responsible for at least 33 crimes in the state of Illinois. He was sentenced to death in 1980 also. Alright, so let's just get into more about Pennywise. I mean, we know that he's not from Earth. We know that he's not human. But what else can this killer clown from the Macroverse have to offer? Well, Pennywise has so many powers that going down the list, it almost seems like I'm talking about a comic book character. It is capable of shape-shifting, summoning illusions, becoming temporarily invisible, regenerating itself, telekinesis, and telepathy. Okay, so now I want to go over with you some things that are in the novel that are not in the movie. Hochstetter and Bowers are evil bullies that are in the novel and in the movie. However, the book goes into much more detail about just how sadistic these two can be. In the book, Hochstetter suffocates his 5-year-old brother, Avery, to death with a pillow, and he's even aroused by doing it, as strangely as that may seem. He even tortures animals by starving them to death, and keeps their corpses in a refrigerator at a junkyard. Hochstetter is an unlikable bully in the film, but we don't get a full picture of just how evil he can be. There's also an omitted sequence in the book, where Hochstetter gives his friend and fellow bully Henry Bowers a hand job. Yes, believe it or not. At this, Bowers punches Hochstetter in the mouth. Bowers also kills Mike's dog in the book, and he almost kills Mike himself. All these examples of the sadistic nature of Bowers and Hochstetter were left out of the film adaptation. And what is by far the most bizarre aspect of Stephen King's book, the Losers Club meet Maturin, an ancient turtle who created the cosmos, explains to them what sort of demon Pennywise is and how to defeat him. Though true fans will notice in the movie that when the losers go swimming in one scene, one of them call out that they've seen a turtle. There's a rather controversial chapter towards the end of the book as well. The scene is led by Beverly Marsh, the only female of the group, where the group of 11-year-old kids participate in an orgy of sorts. And Marsh realized that it was using his powers to cause the group to fight. An argument broke out amongst the group of kids. Thankfully, this scene was not in the movie. She rationalized that the only way to unify the group was to have sex with each one of her 6 friends. And thankfully, this scene was not in the original nor the adaptation. The filmmakers decided to just stick with the 6 kids making a blood oath, but the filmmaker thought the oath alone was enough. Of course, a blood oath pact was made in the book as well. However, in the film, Bill doesn't know if Georgie is dead or alive. In the novel, Bill knows his little brother Georgie is dead from the beginning. In fact, Georgie's body is never recovered, although his detached arm is, and he is still considered a missing person. This sets a vastly different focus in the film. Thus, Bill's main focus in the movie is trying to locate his little brother. So that's it for my video, but I hope you have a nice day, and when the movie It comes out on September 6th, I hope you enjoy it, because I know I will. Alright, bye.